Hey guys, what's up? Today, I want to tell you about my favorite accessories for my new Fujifilm X-M5. Let's dive right in. So first up is the SmallRig thumb grip that came out. You may know SmallRig is a company that makes accessories for all kinds of different cameras. And for most of Fuji's cameras, they make these little thumb grips that slide into the hot shoe. And it actually makes it way nicer to hold this camera because this is such a small camera body. It doesn't necessarily have the deepest grip on it, and being able to rest your thumb on this grip really makes it easier to hold the camera. This comes in silver and black, though at the time I ordered, silver was sold out. All I could find anywhere was black, so I ordered one of those, and I think it looks fine on the silver camera. Couple of downsides though, it does make it even harder to hit the Q button than it normally is. That button's recessed at baseline, and now you add this thumb grip on and it's really hard to get there. As a result, I've actually reprogrammed the Q button to the AEL AFL button on the back of the camera. It also makes it a little bit harder to turn the rear control dial, which I usually use for shutter speed. Not impossible, but you just kind of have to reprogram your muscle memory just a touch. Overall, though, I think this is a good accessory, and they even include this free little red soft shutter release button as well with it, which is pretty cool. It's not a bad value for the $16.99 that I paid for it. Moving on to the next accessory, that is the Fujifilm. It is not from Fujifilm. Moving on to the next accessory, it is the Wasabi third-party dual charger and batteries. Now, this is going to be controversial. There's a lot of people in the camera community who refuse to use third-party batteries, but I've been using Wasabi batteries and chargers in all of my cameras since about 2012 on Nikon, and since about 2018 when I switched to Fujifilm, I've been using some of these specific batteries. These two in front of me, as you can see on the date here, they were purchased in June of 2023, but I do have some dating all the way back to 2018 that are still going strong. The dual charger and battery retails for $28. So again, you get two batteries and a charger for $28. Whereas one single battery from Fuji would run you about $60 full price most days. I do think the battery life in these is comparable to OEM, and I really have no complaints about these batteries whatsoever. I should tell you that I did have one a couple years ago that swelled, and when I put it in the camera, it was hard to get back out. But to be fair, I've also had that happen in one of my OEM Fuji batteries of this variety as well. So that is not unique to Wasabi. It can happen to any battery, right? But yeah, highly encourage purchasing these. I wouldn't waste my money on the OEM battery, but if you want to, go right ahead. Next up, we have the Peak Design Cuff wrist strap. And this is just a small wrist strap that hooks onto the camera and kind of is quick release on and off. Connects on, and then what I like about this is it doesn't kind of restrict my camera movement the way a strap does, but it saves me from dropping it because it does tighten right down nicely onto my wrist so the camera can't fall off, and it just gives me a peace of mind that I can, manipulate the camera, hold it up high, down low, move around without having to worry about it falling, right? The Peak Design, these quick release anchor points are really, really sturdy, really reliable. I have no fear that they're going to break, and the wrist strap just pops off super easy when you're done with it. Pretty cool there. And so that was number 4. Moving on to number 5 is very similar to that. This is the Peak Design Leash, which is their thinner, lightweight camera strap. It's like the lightweight version of, I think it's called the Slide is their full model. This is a much thinner strap, and I've got to be honest, I've owned this for a good number of years now, and actually on my larger cameras like the X-T3 and the X-H2, I found that I don't like it so much. I think it just digs into my shoulder a little too much because it's so narrow. It doesn't really spread the load around. But I've been using it a bunch with this camera, and because this camera is so lightweight with a small lens on it, with this strap, I kind of just forget that it's there. So that's pretty cool. And it's easy to adjust the length of this strap with the built-in slides that it has. It has one on either end, so you can really customize the fit of the strap and how the camera hangs. And again, it has the Peak Design quick connects on either end, which just makes it super quick and easy to put on the camera, take off, and throw the camera over your shoulder and carry it around. So it's just a camera strap, but this is my favorite one currently, even though I don't use a camera strap super often. When I do, this is what I've been reaching for with the X-M5. Next up, for number 5, is just this or any micro HDMI to full-size HDMI adapter. This camera unfortunately does only have a micro HDMI port, which is kind of annoying. And so this is a necessity if you plan to do any video and hook to an external monitor or have any use for the HDMI out port. Now you can also get a full cable that is micro HDMI on one end and full size on the other, like a male plug, so you don't need the adapter, but I already have cables in my camera bag for my X-H2, and so I just picked up this adapter. I paid $7 for this on Amazon. It works great. Don't waste your money on some premium brand. This works just fine. All right, up next for accessory number 7, we have the JJC tempered glass screen protector. This is not marketed directly to fit the X-M5. It's marketed for the X100V, the X106, the XT4, the XE4. Its model number is the GSP X100V. And this, I can guarantee, I have one on my X-M5. It fits great. It's just a simple tempered glass screen protector like you might have on your smartphone. It doesn't interfere with the touchscreen at all, and it protects it from scratches and damage over time. It was easy to install, not much to say about that, but I paid $9 for it, and I think that's cheap insurance. I highly recommend picking one up. Next up is one of my favorite accessories for all of my Fuji cameras except for my X-H2, which this isn't compatible with. But that is an old school threaded cable release. I have to take off this soft shutter button to show you. But the old school threaded cable release just threads directly into the shutter button and allows me to half press to focus, and then I can push all the way to take a photo. It also has this collar here that I can unscrew, and then when I push down, it stays down for bulb mode. And to release it, you just push on that collar and it releases. And that way you can do bulb mode, custom shutter speed lengths and stuff if you're doing long exposure work. I just find that I really like an old school cable release like this. There's something satisfying about like pushing the plunger down instead of pushing an electronic button on a remote. And I actually learned the hard way that this is actually a bit more reliable of a system. I was in Acadia National Park when I first got my XT3. Scratch that, I was shooting on Nikon back then. I was in Acadia with my D810. And the battery-powered wired shutter release that I was using got dropped into a tide pool into the saltwater. And I spent the rest of my trip not having a shutter release, taking landscape photos, which was less than fun. If I drop this into salt water, it might cause some damage in the long term with corrosion and stuff, but it's going to keep working for the trip, and I'll have no worries about continuing on. So this is also made by JJC, costs $10 on Amazon, and I highly recommend picking one up for any Fuji camera that has the threaded shutter button. Next up is a really simple one. You probably already have this floating around your house somewhere, and that's just a USB-C cable. So the reason I carry a USB-C cable with my camera traditionally is simply so that I can plug it in and charge my camera on the go in case I forgot a spare battery or whatever. It's always good to have. If I'm traveling with my laptop, I've always traditionally used this to transfer photos to the laptop as well if I need to. The coolest feature, I think my actual favorite feature of the X-M5 currently that I hope comes via firmware update to other Fuji cameras, is that I can now plug this other end directly into my iPhone and transfer images via hardwire through the Fuji X app onto my phone. And that way I'm not relying on the notoriously crappy wireless connection of the Fuji X app. This is probably my all-time favorite update on Fuji's system since I've been shooting it, and it really does make life easy. I know it seems like a step backward to be using a cable in the age of wireless everything, but it really is just easier, faster, more reliable, and I'll go into this a little more in depth in my full review of this camera that's going to be coming out next week or the week after. Now, the ninth accessory kind of goes along with the USB-C cable, and that is just any kind of battery bank. This one is 10,000 milliamp hours. It's made by a company called Rav Power. I looked on Amazon, I can't find this one anymore. I suspect it's been discontinued. I've had this for probably 5 years. But I really love that I can plug this into my camera, and while I'm sitting at a coffee shop on a photo shoot or driving to the next spot, I can charge my phone or charge my camera back up and refill the battery without having to carry a whole bulky wall charger around. And I also like that if I'm shooting extended video or long exposures or something, I can actually Velcro strap this battery bank right to the leg of my tripod, and it can power the camera directly, so I have virtually unlimited battery power and don't have to worry about the small batteries. Since Fuji's decision to use the smaller NPW126 batteries. Their decision to use these on this camera is a little controversial, but it was the only way to get the camera small enough. That being said, carry a battery bank in your camera bag and a USB-C cable. You top off all day, carry a couple extra batteries, and you'll be fine. I just went on a full day photo walk the other day and I only went through 1.5 batteries, so it's really not as bad as people say. But this is just cool. Being able to transfer photos, charge your camera, have all day power in a tiny package is great. There's a link in the description to an equivalent battery bank from Anker, and it's less than $25. Super great accessory. Highly recommend picking up one of those. All right, so moving on to the 10th and final accessory. This is another accessory that I've not really used much with my other cameras because they're just a little too big and heavy for it. I've used this with some GoPros and little point-and-shoot cameras or my phone through the years. This is the basic Manfrotto Pixi Tripod, and it's like a bulletproof little accessory for small cameras. I wouldn't use this in anything bigger or heavier, but this X-M5 with a small lens on it is the perfect use case for this tripod. If you're looking to something you can throw in your pocket or your camera bag to be able to set up on a ledge or whatever and take a video of yourself or do a long exposure of a city skyline from an overlook or something like that without carrying a big tripod around all day, this thing's excellent. And it's very sturdy, it's locked in place, it's not going anywhere as long as you don't have anything too heavy on it. And it's actually a friction release, so it's locked in place unless you push this button, and then you can move it around, and then as soon as you release the button, the camera locks in place wherever you have it. Now, you cannot put this in a full vertical orientation. It doesn't have the notch to go full 90 degrees, so you'd need an L bracket or something like that to pull that off. But for the size and weight of it, I think it's pretty cool. It also closes up and is ergonomic to serve as a vlogging handle, so you can hold the camera out, point it back at yourself, and use this kind of as a vlogging handle to vlog as you walk around, which is a pretty cool thing. I like this tripod a lot. It's like $30 on Amazon these days. Highly recommend picking one of those up as well. It's just really handy to have sitting in your bag. You can also get a GorillaPod or some other little travel tripods, but for the price and how well this has held up through the years, I'm a big fan. Let me know what accessories you've found. Did I miss anything that you think is important? And what have you found that you've been using? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.